Welcome to Up Close with yours truly, Colin Thompson. Featured in this edition is world-class professional triathlete Flora Duffy, who continues to grow from strength to strength. Flora Duffy is bracing herself for what promises to be another career-defining year. The professional triathlete has all but secured qualification for this summer's Olympic Games in Rio, where the aim is to improve on her previous two showings at the event that didn't go quite as planned. Her Olympic debut at the 2008 Games in Beijing ended in despair when she failed to finish due to poor health and a dip in form at the worst possible time. Duffy's Olympic woes continued 4 years later at London 2012, where she crashed in front of the iconic Buckingham Palace while leading the chase group on the bike. These failures took their toll on Duffy, who is now keen as ever to finally get it right in Rio.
I think realistically a top 10 would be really great. Depends how the race dynamic plays out. It's a really tough bike course, so there's the possibility of a small break getting away. I know there's a lot of girls motivated to do that. I don't know, maybe there's a top 5, but I don't know. Honestly, the past 2 Olympics I've been to have been crashing in London, DNFing in Beijing. I just want to have an Olympics where I have a smooth race, one that I'm happy with, and whether that's 20th or 5th or 12th, you know, whatever, just that I can cross the line and be like, okay, I gave it my all and I can be happy.
Duffy is ranked 12th in the ITU Olympic qualification list following a string of impressive performances over the past 2 years and finished 7th in the 2015 ITU World Triathlon Series. Given that she is almost guaranteed to be among the 55 women on the start line in Rio, being able to prepare for her 3rd Olympics without the pressure of securing qualification points at this stage has taken a huge load off of Duffy's shoulders. It is a far cry from the athlete's build-up to the previous Olympics, where she was in 47th position with 3 races remaining before the qualification deadline.
Especially like the races are all over the world, so you don't need to be traveling, you know, around the world and back again, chasing points to get to the Olympics, and then by the time you get to the Olympics, you're just exhausted. And so it's nice for me, I can pick and choose strategically where I want to race, what I want to do to sort of optimize August. You know, I'm hoping to start the season out a little slower. Like this year I got to fitness really quickly, and like this year I'd rather build slowly, and then so when I'm in August, that's when I'm peak fitness and like mentally fresh, physically, emotionally, you know, ready to give my all at the Olympics. Yeah, but it's hard, you know, in an Olympic year, it's just, everything is just more heightened and can be more draining, but I have a good base in Boulder and in South Africa, so hopefully between that and everybody here supporting me. Qualifying it's not as clear-cut as, you know, getting a time and you're going. Whereas in triathlon you gain points by racing on the World Cup circuit, which is what I do, and the top 55 go. So right now they have an Olympic simulation list out, which to say if the Olympics was tomorrow, these 55 girls would go. And right now I'm ranked 12th on that. So I'm pretty secure, you know, barring anything crazy that would happen. My qualification is pretty much secure. It just has to be made official, I would say.
Representing her country at this level has always been an incredible experience for Duffy, and Rio 2016 should prove to be no exception.
Yeah, it's pretty overwhelming at first. I mean, it's an incredible experience. Obviously, it's hard to really, like, I don't know, translate that to people when you tell them, because it's such a spectacle. It's really hard to articulate. But yeah, it's cool. I mean, obviously from Bermuda, there's usually like 7 athletes going, so we're pretty small, and it can be a little daunting when you see all these other big countries with all their hundreds of athletes, and they're like, oh, it's just us. But also it's special because you know everybody that's on your team, and like in London, you know, the 2 sailors, Jessie and Xander, were my neighbors growing up, so that was cool. And you know, I've swum with Roy at Shark Swim Club since, I don't know, we were both really young, and so that's pretty special, you know, like you know them and you follow their results closely, and we've been to a bunch of other games with them, so yeah,
The sport of triathlon is a multi-stage competition involving the completion of 3 continuous and sequential endurance disciplines. The most popular form of triathlon involves swimming, cycling, and running in immediate succession over various distances. Triathletes compete for fastest overall course completion time, including time transitions between the individual disciplines. Triathlons can and do vary in distance. The Olympic distance that Duffy will compete in Rio consists of a 1.5-kilometer swim, 40-kilometer bike, and 10-kilometer run. She also competes over the sprint distance, which involves a 750-meter swim, 20-kilometer bike, and 5-kilometer run, as well as the off-road version of the sport, more commonly referred to as Xterra, where the distances for professionals can vary widely depending on the available terrain, but generally comprise of a 1.5-kilometer swim, 35-kilometer bike, and 10-kilometer run. The main weapon in Duffy's arsenal is the bike, which perhaps comes as no real surprise given that she earned 2 gold and a silver medal at the Elite Caribbean Cycling Championships.
Yeah, it is my strength. I guess the swim and the bike depends if I'm racing Xterra or ITU. Definitely the ITU side of things, the bike. And in Xterra, I'd say I'm pretty solid all around. Not spectacular. Well, I guess swimming-wise, compared to the other girls, I do stand out there. But you know, being solid all around is kind of a good thing, I think. The training days kind of differ. You know, some days are easier than others. But like today, it's a Tuesday. So a typical Tuesday for me would be an 8 a.m. track session, which total would be about, I don't know, 12 to 15 Ks. If you put in the warm up and warm down, probably about 10 Ks of actual work. And then from there, quickly jump in my car, drive over to the gym, do a gym session, which is about 45 minutes long. And then there, about an hour or so break, and then it's into a swim session, which can differ, can be hard, can be easy, but it's only about an hour, so three-ish Ks. Not that long, but after that run, the gym and the run, it's pretty hard. And then in the afternoon, depending again on what my coach wants, it's either a ride of about 90 minutes, or there could be another double run day. So it's pretty busy. It's not humongous volume, but there's just a lot going on, a lot of different intensities. And then it repeats. Yeah, then Wednesday is a variation of that, and Thursday is a variation of that, and you know, all highlighting different things, whether it's a running day, cycling day, swimming day. But yeah, basically just all day.
If you thought that Flora Duffy's highly successful campaign in 2014 was a flash in the pan, you just might want to think again. The 27-year-old athlete produced an impressive string of podium displays at various levels last year to prove yet again that she can hold her own competing among the world's elite. Duffy won the ITU Cross Triathlon World Championships in Italy and ITU Africa Cup in South Africa, was second at the ITU World Triathlon Series in Edmonton, Canada, third at the ITU World Triathlon Series Abu Dhabi, and among the top 5 at the ITU Gold Coast and ITU Stockholm events in Australia and Sweden. She also won a bronze medal at the Pan American Games in Toronto and finished 17th in the elite women's race at the ITU World Triathlon Grand Final in Chicago, before ending her season with a $30,000 payday after finishing third at the Island House Invitational Triathlon in Bahamas. Duffy's outstanding performances on the ITU World Triathlon Series circuit last year saw her finish 7th on the overall series leaderboard, her highest ranking at that level. If that wasn't enough, the University of Colorado graduate also continued her dominance in off-road triathlon last year. She defended her Xterra Asia Pacific Championships and Xterra South African Championships titles in South Africa and claimed further victories at the Xterra Mountain Championships in Colorado and the Xterra Philippines for added measure.
Yeah, no, this year definitely took me a little bit by surprise. Yes, you know, definitely defending my world title in Maui, that was a good moment, and then being on the podium twice in the ITU World Triathlon Series, that that also was probably a highlight of my year for sure, and definitely surprised. Like, I went into this year not expecting that. Well, going into the season, the main goal was to win again in Maui, but on the ITU side of things was just to build up some points to sort of like start qualifying for the Olympics, because to do that you need to gain world ranking points, and you gain those points by obviously racing. The better you do, the more points you get. And so, you know, to finish on 2 podiums and to finish 7th overall in the world, that was, you know, my goal was to finish top 15 in every race, and then wherever that put me at the end of the year in the world, well, cool, that was great, but I knew that would set me up for the Olympics. So to then be like super competitive within the races and really dictate how they went, how the race played out was, yeah, it was pretty cool. And I don't know, it was a really fun season for me. It's pretty competitive at that level, so I was very happy with 7th. You know, to be in the top 10 in the world, I think is pretty cool.
Duffy's defense of her Xterra world title didn't go exactly as planned, which made her triumph all the more sweeter.
Yeah, in a way it sort of was. I mean, you know, when I won it the first time, like, it's always been a dream of mine to be a world champion. So to do it the first time, I think it's always going to be really special. But then you go in the second time as a defending champion with the big target on your back, with the expectation, with the pressure. And so to execute with all of that on my back, that made it really special. And the race didn't go quite how I planned. You know, wasn't as smooth sailing as I envisioned in the form that I had. You know, it just didn't play out well, but you know, in the end of the day I ended up winning, and so that made it more special because I had to go through quite a lot to get there, and so to finally cross the line, defend my title, it was a very special moment.
Achieving her goal of earning a medal at the Pan American Games was also a poignant moment for the athlete, who went into the event carrying a huge burden of expectations on her shoulders.
I knew that expectation was sort of there, and particularly the field of athletes that were going and how the race dynamic could play out. And that was a goal of mine at the beginning of the year when I wrote like my goals for 2015 season. It was medal at Pan Ams, but then I was injured sort of in the lead up to Pan Ams and really hadn't done much running. Like, I had to take basically 2 months off of running and then build back up. So, you know, those expectations kind of from my side, they were put more realistically of, okay, let's do top 10. But yeah, then everything came together and I got scraped into that bronze medal position. And yeah, it was really, really cool.
The bronze medal that Duffy won was Bermuda's 9th at the event. With successive Xterra world titles under her belt, Duffy is now on the verge of a remarkable hat-trick at this event.
But someone told me going for the 3rd time is not as difficult as the 2nd time, so I'm not sure I believe them.
As one might expect, Duffy's successes of late have given her confidence a tremendous boost, and the timing perhaps could not have been better, with Rio not far off in the distance.
Yeah, it's definitely helped my confidence a lot, you know. I mean, of course, a lot of things need to go, you know, right in the races for me to have those sorts of results, but you know, I can go into a race and know that, okay, I can confidently say I can compete with the sort of the best girls, and mix it up, and yeah, it's really cool. I mean, that's what you want to do as a professional athlete, and that's what I've strived for since I was like a little kid, and now I'm doing it.
Duffy attributes last year's successful season to a number of factors.
This year, I think it's not just one thing, it's been quite a few things. I think one, like, this is my 2nd year racing full-time, like not being in school and just having the ability to kind of train where I want. Luckily I have great sponsors here, you know, Tokyo Millennium helped me out a lot here, which really, you know, it's like just, I guess having that bit of help really exponentially makes a huge difference to me. Just allows me to, you know, get better like massage and recovery, treatment if I'm injured, all those little things, and then seeking out expertise, whether it's in running or swimming or cycling. You know, just all those little details really add up, and then, you know, paying attention to my nutrition and just eat, sleep, train, repeat. And it's just being consistent like that and shutting out everything else in your life and becoming just a pretty boring person. But when you're a boring person, you're probably going to race really well. That's what I've discovered. Yeah, so right now I sort of split my year, 6 months in Boulder, Colorado, and then 6 months in Stellenbosch, South Africa. Try and chase summer, avoid the winters, and then obviously spend some time back here in between that. It's nice to spend my downtime here. Just allows me to see, more people hang out with my family and my friends and just enjoy the island. But yeah, so my boyfriend is South African, so we go to his home for 6 months, and then while it's kind of in season, I'm in Boulder, which means I'm there, but every 2 weeks I'm racing, so I'm on a plane a lot.
Duffy refuses to get carried away by her accomplishments, preferring instead to keep her feet planted firmly on the ground, which speaks volumes to the athlete's character.
It hasn't changed me, no, I don't think so. I mean, not that anyone's told me, or like, I don't feel any different. I mean, it still feels the same. It's like, okay, yeah, you've won a few world titles, but you're still Flora, like I train with a lot of guys. They still tease me and make fun of me, It's not like I'm by any means put on a pedestal or anything like that. And I think it hasn't changed me. It's just made me, want to achieve more success, Success is a nice thing to have. And so no, I don't think it has at all.
You want to be in a Lindo's commercial? Or do you have any experience?
A little.
The name's Di James, straight out of Wales.
Have you ever worked with animals?
I have a pig, a fish, a cow.
So not much experience. Are you funny?
Some people say I am.
Can you say this? Lindo's, why go anyplace else?
Lindo's, why go where?
Not gorilla flying. Do you like fajitas?
Not really.
Don't call us, we'll call you. Next!
Having now firmly established herself among the world's elite, Flora Duffy will now look to maintain the high standards that she has set for herself heading into the new season. Her season will commence in February in South Africa at the Xterra South Africa, where she is the two-time defending champion, and conclude at November's ITU cross-country triathlon in Australia. In all, Duffy will compete in 9 different countries, including Japan, Mexico, Sweden, and the United Arab Emirates, to name a few. Duffy's success on the world stage has elevated her to star status in her homeland, and she says the warm support which she receives from her fans provides her with added incentive to, quote-unquote, put Bermuda firmly on the map.
Yeah, I mean, of course, it's so nice to know that everyone here supports me and that a lot of people will tune in and watch my races or follow it closely in the papers. I'm not back home quite as much, but my parents, they not shouldn't say deal with it, but they witness it, day to day, because people are always asking them, how's Florida and how's the racing, and it's really cool. I mean, I'm from, obviously Bermuda, it's small, and I'm very proud to represent the island and kind of put it on the map, especially within the triathlon world. And yeah, it can definitely lead to a little bit of pressure, particularly in sort of an Olympic year or at Commonwealth or Pan Ams. There's not many of us there vying for medals, and so yeah, I guess I kind of get that expectation sort of pushed in my direction. But it's all part of it. It's part of being a professional athlete, and it's nothing that I can't deal with, and I enjoy being one of Bermuda's best athletes.
Duffy has come a very long way since she first started competing in triathlon as a youngster. So, how did it all begin?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, growing up, I was in a swim club, Sharks, and then in primary school, I was a part of a running club. I had a great PE teacher who just loved running, and I was like, well, okay. I think my older brother was in the club, so then I joined, obviously, and there was a local triathlon on one day, and I thought, okay, let's do it. And then I won my age group, and that kind of, that was it. And then I was like, okay, I want to do triathlon. And then, of course, you always have these little dreams as a kid. Oh, I want to do this professionally one day. And then, somehow that became a reality, and now I'm doing it now. But it was a lot of hard work. I guess I got lucky that the island offers a great little triathlon club, Tri-Heads. I did that. A few opportunities opened up for me. And then, yeah, the next thing I knew, I was racing at the Commonwealth Games in 2006, and that was kind of like my start as a somewhat full-time athlete.
The longer Duffy competed in triathlon, the more intense her passion for the sport and desire to one day compete as a professional became.
Yeah, I think, someday I kind of had that little dream in my head, but I didn't really know what it took to make it happen or if it was even possible. But I just love triathlons. I was like, well, this would be cool if I could do this all the time and not have to do anything else.
When asked why does she love competing in triathlon, Duffy replied,
I don't really know. Sometimes I question it. I'm like, geez, all I do is exercise all day. It's a crazy sport. But I don't know. I think you meet some great people. It takes you to amazing places. It keeps you fit and healthy and active. yeah, and I think that's pretty cool, and I guess it was my dream, and I get to live out my dream and essentially do it wherever I want to. Yeah, so it's cool. I mean, it's definitely by no means easy. Like it hasn't been easy to get here, and you know, so there's the struggle, and it's also awesome at the same time.
Duffy's success has inspired many, and the career path that she has chosen has made her a trailblazer in her own right, even though she begs to differ.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I'm a trailblazer. Yeah, geez, sometimes I feel like I just kind of had the passion and wanted to do it, and sort of, I don't know, accidentally got here through a lot of hard work. But no, but I hope people can see that it is possible, you know? Like, I was a normal kid, and I'm not extraordinarily talented by any means. It was just hard work and dedication and wanting to do it, and yeah, I somehow made it happen.
Duffy takes immense pleasure in seeing triathlon continuing to thrive in Bermuda, and believes that the sport's future on these shores is indeed a very bright one.
Yeah, I mean, it's the Bermuda triathlon. It's very strong. It's, I mean, obviously a small community or a small island, but there's a lot of passion there and a lot of good structure, especially with Tri-Heads, the club. You know, there's loads of little kids in that club, which is so cool to see. And even just being at the mountain bike race on the weekend. Yeah, and of course, you know, Tyler Smith and Erica Holy are probably the two next coming up. Yeah, and I hope that they can, you know, continue to race quite a bit off of the island, and you know, see what's out there, see what it takes to reach the next level and continue to enjoy it. But yeah, you know, it's tricky, it's hard. I think people sort of, they always ask me, they're like, oh, who's up and coming in Bermuda? I'm like, oh yeah, we have one or two. I'm like, but you must remember, we're a small island of 65,000. It's not like we're just gonna churn out world-class athletes, you know, every other year. Like, we're smaller than a lot of small towns in the US, you know? And so I think there's a great structure here. There's a lot of people passionate about it. And, you know, I just hope, I mean, for me, from a personal point of view, I just love to see kids loving the sport and enjoying it. And whether they go continue on it to it full-time or not, just as long as they're being healthy and active and being a part of the community, that's great for me.
Duffy's advice to any aspiring athlete is simple: enjoy and love whatever you're doing.
Growing up, I loved to do sport because it was fun, and I got to do it with my friends, and it is enjoyable. And so I think that's probably the main advice I would give to any young athlete is just, you know, love what you're doing, enjoy it. I hope you have your friends, and you know, not take it too seriously.
Unfortunately, that's all the time we have for today. See you next time.